remotely can hear everything that's being said, and then also if anybody watches the recording later on, then all of our comments and everything will be in the recording. So just 5 more minutes, but the microphones are live. All right, it's 11 o'clock. We're going to get started. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to call the meeting of the Community Development Director's agenda for June 1st to order. We are also broadcasting via Zoom and recording. Just a reminder, use the microphones. That way everybody who's participating can hear us. We have no changes to the agenda today. Just one item is on the agenda. If anyone here would like to make a public comment on anything other than what we're here to talk about today, now's your chance. All right, seeing none and nobody's raising their hands online. Everyone who does speak at a public comment will be limited to 3 minutes. I'll do my best to remind you, but please just be thoughtful about that when you come up to speak at the microphone. And introduce yourself, and that way we can keep a record of everybody who's here and who said what. So getting on to item 4 on our agenda today, it is a minor use permit for food truck operations at 8 Charles Street Village. That is the 8 Ball Tavern. Is that the name of your guys' business? Yeah, thank you. And Autumn Bus, is the planner on this project, and I am going to bring up the PowerPoint. Thank you. here. Okay, almost. There we go.
All right. Again, this is a minor use permit hearing for a food truck or food cart operation at 8 Charles Street. So this first slide is showing the location. 8 Charles Street is at the corner of Charles Street and Old Redwood Highway. It is occupied by the 8 Ball Tavern, and that is a business that has been in operation for decades as a tavern. Next slide, please. So what is proposed for this permit is operation of one food truck or cart in the parking lot area at 8 Charles Street during the tavern's open hours, which could be up to, is it 1:30?
We close at 2.
At 2. Okay, yeah, so 2 o'clock in the morning. Up to 2 additional food trucks or carts, so for a total of 3, would be allowed periodically as follows. So those 2 additional trucks or carts would only be allowed to stay open until 10 p.m., only operating on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or the day before a national holiday, for a maximum of 1 day in any 4-day period and a maximum of 30 days total in a calendar year. So again, that would just apply to situations where there were one or two additional food trucks to complement the 1 regular food truck. Next slide, please. This graphic shows where the food trucks or carts could be located in either of the yellow highlighted areas in the tavern's parking lot. The section in the upper corner is closer to the tavern building. That's up to 4 parking spaces. And then in the southern corner adjacent to the property line at the creek is up to 5 parking spaces. So food trucks or carts could be in either of those locations, or both if there were multiple food trucks operating at one time. Next slide. It is proposed that the food trucks are available to serve the tavern patrons and the public. And in addition, an outdoor dining area would be allowed if it wouldn't necessarily be a requirement, but it would be allowed up to 100 square feet in size. It would need to be confined to those same locational constraints as the food trucks or carts, and could operate until 10 o'clock on Sundays and through Thursdays, so school nights basically, or to 11 o'clock on Fridays and Saturdays. And this would be a single dining area regardless of the number of food trucks that happen to be operating. Next slide, please. So what we do with use permits is attach conditions of approval that specify specific operating conditions for the activity proposed. So among the conditions, and the conditions are fully lined out in the resolution that is with the agenda packet for this hearing, but I want to call out certain key conditions. Those include no alcohol service would be allowed by the food trucks or carts, no alcohol consumption in the parking lot in general, that the food truck and cart and outdoor dining operations must leave at least 6 parking spaces available for customers at all times. And the 6 parking spaces is what the minimum requirement is in the zoning district. This is the historic core zoning district. So 6 parking spaces, and that's based on square footage of building and service area. The food trucks and carts and outdoor dining and all associated equipment would need to be removed from the site nightly. Next slide, please. No amplified music in the parking lot would be allowed without an additional permit. So that would be a limited term permit or event permit or some other permit approving the music specifically. further compliance with the city's noise standards, which require sound must be down to 65 decibels at the property line adjacent to residential uses. Any lighting be directed downward. Lighting associated with the food trucks and any outdoor dining operation with the food trucks would need to be directed downward with no illumination of areas off the property. Next slide. The trash, recycling, and compost containers be provided for the customers. Any spills would be cleaned up immediately to prevent flowing into the creek or storm drains, and that the operators and staff of the food trucks or carts would have access to the restroom in the tavern. Next slide. City staff have reviewed the proposal. We believe that it complies with the standards of section 1742-250 of the city's code, and that is newly adopted standards for food trucks and carts, which allow operation on private property and further require a minor use permit, which is what we're doing now, for operation in the historic core zoning district and/or for multiple food trucks operating at one time on a property. We find that their proposal meets the code required findings for a minor use permit, and the code designates the community development director as the review authority for a minor use permit, and we are currently about to hold the required public hearing. I want to note that we have received some comments from nearby residents, 5 in total, and generally the comments have been positive as to the food trucks in general at that location, and the primary concerns have been associated with potential noise, additional noise on the property related to food truck operation, to parking, whether use of parking on the site might cause some challenges with parking that might overflow into the nearby community, and lighting from the operation being directed and interfering with people's enjoyment of their adjacent properties. And that is, oh yes, and then there have been more sort of specific requests that closure might happen, a food truck operation might cease at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock at night as a potential way to mitigate noise impacts on the neighbors. That concludes my report. I can answer any questions you might
Great.
have. We also have our applicant's representative, Audrey DeVere Hunt, is here as well to answer questions.
Thank you. I do have a couple questions. It seemed like the hours for the outdoor dining are different than the hours for the multiple food trucks, which are different from the hours of the single food truck. That's correct?
Yeah, that is correct. And the hours for the outdoor dining would be regardless of the number of food trucks operating.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what are those again, the outdoor dining hours?
10 o'clock on Mondays through Thursdays, and 11 o'clock Fridays and Saturdays.
Okay.
And so just to clarify too, the proposal with the different hours depending on the number of food trucks would be that one food truck, as proposed, would be allowed to stay until the closing time of the tavern. If there were 1 or 2 additional food trucks on these limited number of days, they would need to leave by 10. The one could stay.
I understand. And then for the code section, 1742-050, that was recently updated through an ordinance process, correct? Mm-hmm. And how did the hours for food trucks in general, like how was that talked about through the ordinance process?
So the original proposal was for, the original staff proposal was to the Planning Commission was for, I believe, an 11 o'clock close time for food trucks, regardless of property type or business type. And the Planning Commission members very strongly wanted there to be the opportunity for businesses that serve alcohol without food to have food trucks there longer. in order to serve the patrons so that they were not drinking without eating. And so the proposal was modified, and when it went to the city council, it was for until the closing time of any business on the property. And the council approved that.
Okay, great, thank you. Yeah, so you have anything to add as the owner and applicant?
Not much. Our experience so far with food trucks has been really positive. Most of what we're doing is during the day. Our neighbors directly adjacent to us on the other side of our fence have expressed very strongly how much they enjoy having different things to eat, as well as our patrons are enjoying having options. I think it's been a really good way to support local up-and-coming chefs, as well as support our community and bring people together. We have been very conscious about not competing with our neighboring businesses, as far as we're flanked by pizza restaurants, so there's no way we would put pizza in our back. And I think it's been a really positive thing for our business to just let people eat while they're drinking.
Great, thank you. And would you be flexible in the hours that are included in the use permit?
Absolutely. I think that it's definitely a little, it would be a lot more work for us, especially on the weekends or on the crawl night on Thursday night, to have another thing to deal with outside until 1:30 in the morning. And we want to be conscious of our neighbors and respectful. So I would propose that we could amend this to having food trucks close at midnight so that they're out of our parking lot by 1, which also complies with our conditional use permit for our patio as far as noise and sound outside.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, and I'll just give a little bit of an introduction for everyone who's here. Thank you all for coming, really appreciate your time. The city has been working to kind of streamline some processes and make them similar to other cities where kind of lower level decisions are made by a member of the staff. In the city Cotati's case, that's the community development director. That's my name's Noah Ausch. That's my title. So this is going to be run. It's a public hearing. We're going to run it just like the city council and planning commission does. So we'll invite everybody who wants to make comments in person to come up to the microphone. Please introduce yourself. We'll be keeping a record of this meeting. It is being recorded and broadcast via Zoom. Anyone who's interested in participating remotely is able to do so. And we'll be limiting or asking you to limit your comments to 3 minutes. I will do my best to remind you and even have a clock up, even though I'm seeing that you probably won't be. Okay, so there should be a clock on the little screen. But I'll also do my best to monitor, and just please bear with me because I'm juggling a few different things here behind the scenes. And with that, I'll invite anyone who'd like to speak to make some public comments up to the microphone. It would be great if the first person comes up and then the next person could just queue up right there at the kind of the partition, and that way we just know if there's a next person and we can keep it orderly, and I would really appreciate it. So whoever's interested in speaking, and I'll invite maybe Miss Berman up because I know her if she's interested, or at least give her the opportunity to speak if she has anything she'd like to say. Okay, well, I know Miss Barber also. I'm picking on the people that I'm familiar with here. So give me 1 minute to share my screen with the clock, and then I will start the clock. There we go. Yeah, let me restart you here. Okay.
Hi, my name is Lori Ann Barber, and I live at Frog Song Co-housing, so I'm a next door neighbor, and I'm pleased to meet you. And I want to say, you know, I want to be supportive of the 8 Ball and the new owners coming on and trying to, you know, make it a vibrant more vibrant business for Cotati. And I am also in favor of the food trucks in general. I think it's kind of a fun thing. I know I kind of, when I hear like there's food trucks, I'm like, oh, that's interesting, like what's happening. So supportive of that in general, but I came because I'm concerned about late night noise. So you already said that you'd be willing to, accept hours that don't go to the very end of your opening. So that's, I was kind of looking at maybe more like 11 o'clock and get out at midnight. So I'll just propose that that's what would make most sense for me as a resident, because people that are outside in that parking lot tend to, the noise travels really easily. And I'm just concerned that, and especially if it takes a full hour for the truck to get out, then that's getting kind of late as well on weeknights. I'm not so worried about weekends, the Friday and the Saturday. I'm also appreciative of minding the parking. Parking's kind of a big issue. The patrons spill out onto Old Redwood Highway and park in front of where we live and our bedrooms are. They also spill out onto Ross Street where other people's bedrooms are. So the fact that there is going to be less parking in the lot is a bit of a concern, but I appreciate that that you put in there that the minimum has to be kept. So I appreciate that. So yeah, I think that's my main concern, that I think it's great that there's food trucks there and that you're doing different things with the business, but that, really late night noise, and when people are inebriated, they tend to be louder and, ordering their food or just chatting while they're waiting for it is my main concern. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Barber.
Hi, I'm Peggy Wonder. I'm Lorianne's neighbor, and she just said it all really well. Appreciation for the 8-Ball business and for bringing this topic up. And my being impacted by the noise, I'm even closer to the 8-Ball than Lorianne is. And also have been impacted sometimes when parking spilled out to Old Redwood Highway below my bedroom window, and again, inebriated noise, arguments, whatever, happening and impacting me. So I too would ask for an earlier close time, like 10 or 11, and appreciate your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, and I am their neighbors. I thought it was interesting to note the lower yellow square on the map that you showed is closer to my house than it is to your business. So we hear a lot of noise from the 8-Ball. My kids, I have children. They have grown up with, and I know that you just became the owners, so we had in the past, before you became the owner, called a couple times to the city because of the noise. Not always the noise from the bar itself, but people had, it used to be a really big problem with motorcycles coming in. Recently, it's been more of cars coming in, parking, blasting music as they're parking for 5, 7, 10 minutes. I actually have a recording on my phone. When I saw this, I was like, I should record the noise that's already existing and coming into my windows, and I can't open my windows. So my kids grew up with listening to profanity, and I couldn't control it because our houses are small in California. So there's no way around that. So I think it's important to note that we have families right there, right? So if there's, I do worry about the impact on our family having this be, because I don't keep my kids up that late, right? As school nights, 10 o'clock is late, but my kids are a little bit older now, so I'm okay with that. But at the time, even on weekends, it impacts us, I just want to say, and there's no way to get around it. And, I should have started with a positive. I actually meant to start with a positive. I just jumped right into it. But I do appreciate supporting local businesses, supporting local food trucks. I'm sure that's wonderful. I'm glad that there are people in the community adjacent to the business that appreciate that. But it does also, the traffic, people, community. I actually love living in the middle of it. But it is something that impacts us uniquely at nighttime when we're trying to, as a family, be like quiet time. So I think it's important to say we are very much, love being in Katati, love the traffic, love the people, love the community events that I'm a part of sometimes. But yeah, and I think that's it. I just really would appreciate any consideration for the fact that we are actually right there, like pretty much in the parking lot, unfortunately. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Sunny, and I also live in the adjacent community. And I think this is a really interesting situation of having that mixed-use area. I, like others, I am a business owner. I support small businesses. I want that to happen, and I understand the impact, the physical and emotional impact of not having good sleep. And as was already mentioned, there's noise that bleeds out through, even the people who aren't immediately adjacent. So this is adding more noise to that. I saw that there's the provision if the additional trucks are there that it would close down at 10 o'clock. To me, that seems like a reasonable cutoff for food, especially if it then takes another hour to leave the parking lot. So 10 to 11 is what I would recommend on a 7-night basis. That still allows the business to operate during the hours that most people are eating. So that would be my recommendation. And again, to balance the needs of those who are at the commercial establishment as well as those who live and have no other option in terms of how to deal with the noise. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Sunny.
Hi, my name is Tom Reichert. I'm a neighbor. As it is, Thursday nights there's additional traffic because of, I don't know, there's some sort of a Thursday night. Students come in, and on those nights, we have to close our windows, turn on noise, even with hearing aids. And my hearing aids are off at night. It's too loud. So having additional traffic, I love the idea of closing early. The 11 o'clock would be great for the food trucks, so that additional traffic is diminished at an earlier hour. But for it to go on later than that, it's already too much. And I support local businesses, and I thought well, I won't go into the alcohol part. But yeah, that would be a tremendous help, I think, to have early closing, like I would say 11. 12 o'clock, that's kind of pushing it. 11 o'clock, early closing, every night would be great, so that there's not that additional traffic, which it spills over, the noise, people parking on Redwood Highway. It's loud enough as it is on Thursday nights because of it's so much busier. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Tom.
Hi, Michelle Berman. I also live within hearing distance of the 8 Ball. And, the 8 Ball was there before I was. And I've had to learn to live with the 8 Ball. And I learned to live with co-housing being built. And I've learned to live with all the houses over on McGinnis Circle being built. And there's changes happening all the time. And I'm more concerned about drunk drivers than I am about additional noise. And I'm very happy that you're thinking about having this food truck. And I think that your willingness to make it a midnight closure is great, and the noise is going to happen. And perhaps a way to mitigate the noise is to know that, well, we have so many less bars in Katati than we used to. There's the 8 Ball, and there's the other one on the corner. I don't go to bars. I don't remember its name. And we do have a police force. And we do know that particularly Thursday nights, it's going to be loud and things can get out of hand, and having somebody there to keep the noise down may be a way to deal with this issue. Having a police presence in downtown, maybe just a walking the beat, just checking things out, might be a way to mitigate the noise and keep things at a low roar. But I don't think a food truck is necessarily going to change anything with regard to noise. I think the noise is going to happen. And, particularly, I don't like motorcycles that roar past. It's got nothing to do with bars. It's got to do with the motorcycle. But you know what? I got to learn to live with this stuff. And thank you for being willing to be a good neighbor. Thank you to all my neighbors for being good neighbors, for agreeing to disagree about things. We're learning how to live with each other, and I appreciate that about this town. Thank you.
Thanks, Shelley. Is there anyone else wishing to speak? All right. So with that, I will close public comment. We have no attendees on Zoom, so I will close public comment both in person and online. I have a couple questions. I'm interested in trying to see a balance to, mitigate the impacts, the concerns that we're hearing about noise impacts, with also ensuring that the local businesses that are, giving Cotati a try through operating their food trucks here and supporting you guys and expanding your offerings. And then also following the Planning Commission input and direction on this ordinance, which was to try to provide food to people who are drinking alcohol at the bars downtown who don't have that opportunity. They don't have a kitchen like you guys. So do you know kind of how much business the food trucks were really getting after 10 or after 11, or do you have any input on that?
We actually haven't had any food trucks stay that late. On Tuesday nights, we've been having a taco truck that leaves around 9:30, and they do most of their business between 7 and 9. So we haven't anticipated booking food trucks for nighttime, because it would also include us having to hire an extra security person. And as far as cleaning the parking lot, we just don't want to limit our options at this point. But no, I don't have an answer because we haven't done it.
Sure, that totally makes sense. And then the other question I have is, we're imagining like a stop service time and then a kind of a cleanup time, like an hour. And I'm wondering if you think that the food trucks might be able to shorten that hour in a way that would allow them to maybe get off site a little bit faster, like so maybe 30 minutes?
Honestly, I just made up an hour. Most of them are self-contained, like they back their truck up to the trailer and leave. There is no hour, it's more like 10 minutes. The ones that set up an easy up and have tables and, their grills set up, it might take more like a half an hour, but they want to get out of there too. So an hour would be kind of an excessive expectation anyway.
Okay, great. And then right now, as it's written, the condition limits outdoor dining, or this kind of setup beyond the truck, to 10 p.m. on Monday through Thursday and 11 p.m. on Friday and Saturdays. Okay.
Just to say something about that, the only reason we included that, and that's not something that we want, is people lingering in our parking lot and eating and making noise or all of that, is just because with the food trucks, we've actually seen people seating themselves on the ground. Like I saw a father and daughter come to the taco truck and they sat on the ground in our parking lot, and I thought it was really unsanitary. So we don't anticipate having like an outdoor dining area where people hang out. Just basically like a picnic table to sit and eat some handheld food without having to sit on the ground.
Totally makes sense. All right, well, I really appreciate everybody taking the time to come to the meeting, provide their input. I also really appreciate the people who took the time to write in their comments and give those to us ahead of time. You know, our job here in the Community Development Department and then the bigger Planning Commission and City Council is to try to balance, you know, all the competing needs that the community has, you know, business and economic, as well as lifestyle and quality of life, community character, all those things. And so I really appreciate hearing from everybody because that's what really allows us to understand those issues and make some choices based on those things. So as of right now, the resolution is written to allow food trucks till 2 a.m. To serve Friday and Saturday nights, and then a Sunday if the next day's a holiday, or a weekday if the next day's a holiday.
It's regardless, so with the single food truck?
Yeah, regardless, okay. Okay, so I do think the 2 a.m. timeline is a little bit late. And then also, it seems like it's not really something that's necessary for operations, and it even goes beyond what your outdoor patio is allowed to use. So I do think that's too late. Right now, what I'd like to do is to stick with the 10 p.m. and 11 p.m. for Friday and Saturday outdoor dining limitations. I think that's good. And then allow food service till midnight on Fridays and Saturdays. And maybe cut that off at 10 p.m. On weekdays. So I think that's the conditions that I would be comfortable with, trying to balance everything that we heard, and I absolutely know that that's not going to be exactly what everybody wanted, but we are trying something new in Cotati. We're trying to have a vibrant downtown, and we're trying to, I think Ms. Berman's point is she's speaking the point that we heard from the Planning Commission is there's a lot of concern with these old bars that kind of opened with the classic bar model where they have no food service and then there's no food being available downtown. So I do think that's a really important thing to balance. And one thing that I was hoping that the A-Ball owners could do is try to have the food trucks off-site as quickly as possible after those cutoff times. And so that way just everything can move inside and try to just clean up and minimize the impacts to the neighbors.
We can definitely make that commitment when we have the discussion with food trucks, because it's rotating, so they're always different. So before we meet with them, or before we allow them in our parking lot, they have to comply with all the standards of Sonoma County as well as the city. And during that meeting, I will tell them that they also need to hurry up and get out of there when they're done, for sure.
Midnight on Fridays and Saturdays, and then and then 10 o'clock on weekdays.
The multiple food trucks?
I think the hours on multiple food trucks and the outdoor dining they're good. I think because it's 10 o'clock. Multiple food trucks have to leave by 10 p.m. And then the outdoor dining gets to stay a little bit later on Friday or Saturday night. So I think that tries to balance things that we heard. And again, just really appreciate everybody's time. And I hope all of you kind of get benefits from this more than the impacts, but I know it's a change, and so whenever we change anything, there's always some uncertainty with how that's going to go. But it seems like the new ownership is really interested in trying to kind of improve the reputation of the 8-Ball with regards to some of the negative things, and then just really level up the services that are being offered there. So we really appreciate that. And with that, I am going to adjourn this meeting. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.